going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner. I got to go bold, right? I got to go bold for this.
Yeah, she's got some nice long
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're out there on YouTube. And also rate that show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. Just search for Unbearable Sports. What's going on, Bears fans? Today we're breaking down the Chicago Bears versus the Cincinnati Bengals and breaking down the offense, defense, special teams, players to watch out for, X factors, and other matchups to watch out for. So I'm excited for this because I'm feeling a little bit optimistic. Don't want to give away my prediction just yet, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, even though coming off of a loss, you know, you're hoping that they at least can kind of regroup and do something. But this is going to be a big time test for them because going into the last couple weeks, they've been going against bad defenses. And quite frankly, the passing offense has not looked great. And we expect it to be a lot better. This is a feeling of a potential get-right game for the Chicago Bears that maybe they can come out and maybe show the Bengals and show the world like, hey, look, we can take advantage of a really bad defense and then hopefully put up some points because, man, I think that we really need this right about now. We need a big breakout Caleb Williams game to really kind of, I think, silence a lot of, like myself. I have not liked the way that he's played over the past 3 weeks. And I think that just having that big game should hopefully then just like kind of reset things. He needs a bounce back game. And right now kind of screams that this should hopefully be that bounce back game for the Chicago Bears. So we have to break down one other thing real quick too, is we need to break down the new signing that the Chicago Bears have made. Not injury impact. We're not going to do that. Let's go into, wait for it. Come on now. Oh, it doesn't want to load it up now. All right. So let me see if I can pull up my graphics real quick and see what I can grab. Oh man, it doesn't want to load it. Of course it doesn't want to load it right now. So CJ Gardner Johnson got signed by our beloved Chicago Bears. And so I'll just kind of break down a couple of the numbers since the graphics aren't working right now. But CJ Gardner Johnson, former safety, slot corner for many other teams, but also primarily with Dennis Allen back in 2019 all the way to 2021 with the New Orleans Saints. Now the big thing that I immediately tweeted out when we got this news was that he primarily played in the slot when he was under Dennis Allen. So in his rookie season, 268 snaps in slot, then 622, then 477. So over 1,000 snaps in his first 3 seasons playing that slot corner position. Then after leaving, he ends up playing primarily a free safety role where his slot corner responsibilities were severely nuked. So he only played slot after that over the next 4 seasons, less than 300 snaps. So you better believe that the Bears are going to be looking at him as a slot. And actually, Ben Johnson even said today, too, that he expects Chauncey Gardner Johnson to be lined up in the slot. And when asked about when he's going to play, Chauncey Gardner Johnson said, I'm going to play on Sunday. So he's really focused on playing this Sunday for the Chicago Bears. So gotta love that. And quite frankly, yeah, he is a veteran that has been in this system. So to me, it's no shock if he immediately goes out there and plays. So my overall thoughts though with this signing, I really like it. I really, really like this signing because now it's not going to all of a sudden transform this defense and make it unbelievable and make it amazing because we're talking about a signing made at the end of October. We're not talking about a signing made in the offseason. This is what happens when you just need to add some sort of depth and add someone to at least kind of contribute into your batted up cornerback room. And I said this before on the show, I love the idea of signing a corner, but not for trading for a corner. And just a little bit of context with that as well, is I don't love the idea of trading for a corner because if we were to have traded for a corner, you're giving away a draft pick essentially for a 1-year rental. So what does that really give you? I'd rather just sign someone for a 1-year rental and get that play. So personally, I really like this. And I don't mind if the Bears were, say, to trade for a defensive end because that defensive end could potentially play his way into a spot. While the cornerback position, you feel like you're pretty much set for the next 2 years with your current setup, the way that Tyreek Stevenson has looked very good in this system. Then you have Kyler Gordon and also Jalen Johnson. So to me, really like this signing by the Bears, because also too, CJ Gardner Johnson was asked to blitz a decent amount, not crazy amount, but he's someone that can kind of give you some of that Kyler-esque physicality up at the line of scrimmage. And as we all know too, CJ Gardner Johnson is the person that was just absolutely ripping on Javon Wims, snatched the chain, gets popped in the face. So I think that that's what we also all remember with him as well. And so my last little bit is just the attitude, because I believe that with the Texans, the big reason why they got rid of him was because of the attitude. If Dennis Allen and Ben Johnson, because both of them know this guy, if they all agree that he's going to be a good fit in the locker room, awesome. But like, as I'm seeing with some of the comments, the guy has a history of being a jerk. So if they know that he is someone that can be in this locker room and actually contribute inside of this locker room rather than getting cut after the first three games because of being a nuisance, we'll have to see. So I trust this coaching staff with this overall, but I think that this could be a really good pickup as long as the head's on straight and everything's good there. So let's see. Gary, what's good? Saying Bears, we need to get them. Chicago Bears, there we go. Bear down. We got, and then also we got other people out there in the chat. We got Ron, the Bear down to you. He's signing the cornerback no one wants. He says, Tempest saying CJ's a total jerk. Not a fan of that one. And then let's see. Question is, will Joe Flacco start? Good question. So we'll break that down with it all. But yeah, wanted to just talk about CJ Gardner Johnson playing in that slot. But also too, I kind of like it. Just it'll be interesting when Kyler Gordon comes back. Do you move Kyler out to the outside? My take, no. I think that maybe CJ's just here to fill in as much as he can. Right now. So I like the pickup. Right, I'd rather have the depth. Just have to control the attitude. So let's keep on going. And also, Sean. Okay, there we go. I was curious. I was like, I haven't seen a Tempest out there. And then I also see the S2 in the chat. So there we go. Let's keep on going though. So let's talk a little bit about the injuries. And so awesome. I got one of the graphics to work. Success. So with this injury impact, what I want to talk about is after a week of basically all of our corners being out, our wide receiver said, hey, look, that looks like fun. So now Luther Burden did not participate. DJ Moore, DNP. Roma Dunze, DNP. Alamde Zaccheaus, DNP. That's right. Our top 4 wide receivers all did not participate today on Wednesday. So yeah, is this going to be the Jade Walker game? Some people to actually look out, right? Because we are saying this right now on a Wednesday. So there's going to be a lot more practices. Thursday is always the key one, just to see who gets elevated up to limited participant. But really, when we look at this, Luther Burden, I would doubt plays just because of the head injury. Concussions usually are at least a week. And then also just what we always say too, if he's not limited on Thursday, he's not going to play. And then also with DJ Moore, the whole hip and groin, he's had that for a while. So interesting. Roma Dunze, that was kind of the shocker, because Roma Dunze, we didn't really see anything wrong with him. And then OZ with the knee injury is the only other piece. But good news, Cole Kmet limited and Tyreek Stevenson limited. So unfortunately with the wide receivers, we're just going to have to kind of play it by ear. We don't know too much about the other injuries besides Luther Burden. But like I mentioned, I don't expect Luther Burden to be out there. And we saw when Luther Burden wasn't out there, we saw a pretty healthy dose of Devin Duvernay, which I was kind of shocked at. But it might have also just been because they didn't have Cole Kmet. So if Cole can be out there, maybe you just run a lot more 12, 2 tight end sets so that you have the 2 tight ends out there. That's personally what I would do, right? You want the best players out there, and no offense to Devin Duvernay. He's a solid 4th wide receiver that you want to have out there. But But yeah, I'd rather just have those 2 tight ends. I'll have the 2 tight ends, thank you, out there instead. So yeah, I think overall though, yeah, I agree with Sean. Yeah, DJ, I think that DJ ends up playing just because we've seen this before. We've seen this pop up. Rome, I feel like DJ and Rome would. And yeah, Alameda, I'm assuming so as well too. So I feel optimistic about this just because of we saw them kind of complete those games. But the other thing that I want to bring up also with the injury report is that we saw Shamar Turner go down. He's out for the season. And then what we ended up seeing is now we're going to see Austin Booker, which we'll break down a little bit later with Booker out there. Also, we got Frank, bear down to you. Joe, bear down to you as well. Yeah, and does DJ get more passes? I actually saw a stat that Rome Odunze when it's man-to-man gets like a third of the passes. And yeah, DJ Moore gets like 14%. So not great, but man, I'm excited to see Booker out there. But let's see what else. Let's flip over to their side with the Cincinnati Bengals. Also bear down, Drax. Hope all is well. But let's go into the Cincinnati Bengals piece. So right now, the DNPs, Joe Flacco with the shoulder injury. So that is going to be the question. That is going to be the main discussion. Trey Hendrickson also did not participate with a hip injury today. Dalton Risner did not participate with an illness, so probably going to be out there. Logan Wilson and Marco Wilson, so linebacker and cornerback, also did not participate today. So the main ones to watch out for, Logan Wilson is a solid linebacker. So just someone to keep an eye out for, but really Trey Hendrickson, Joe Flacco. I assume Trey Hendrickson is going to be out there unless they really might want to trade him. I think it's not a big conspiracy theory. If they are going to trade Trey Hendrickson, then I wouldn't put him out there. He's already banged up. I wouldn't play him. So be on the lookout for that. Full tinfoil hat on, everything like that. Because yeah, if he's not out there, or if they want to trade him, yeah, just don't put him out there. So I would love to see that. I would absolutely love to see that because obviously Trey Hendrickson, when we break down the defense, Trey Hendrickson is that defense. They have one other good player, but really it's Trey Hendrickson. That is their entire defense. And it's crazy that they've never gotten any better. And they got rid of their old defensive coordinator because they're like, well, you're not doing anything with this defense. Well, it's because there's no one good on that defense except for Trey Hendrickson. So that's why they're one of the worst ranked defenses. Bears should be able to have a field day. But yeah, Joe Flacco, will break that down when we talk about the defense. But Flacco, Hendrickson, 2 people to be keeping an eye out for as the week progresses. So now let's get into not the opponent breakdown. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears offense. Actually, we'll break down the opponent a little bit. Let me kind of break out some rankings. So overall, FPI rankings have the Bears as the 22nd best team, the 22nd team. And then with the Bengals, 27th. DVOA has the Bears 23rd and the Bengals 29th. Then PFF ranks has the Bears as 20th and then the Bengals as 28th. But then here's the big thing, right? Why? Why are the Bengals ranked so low? Well, obviously, Joe Burrow has not been out there for quite some time, still banged up. He's also on my fantasy team. But still, the Bengals are 3-5 with all things said and done. Joe Flacco has kind of issued some life into them and played a lot better than Jake Browning. Jake Browning was always seen as kind of like a good backup quarterback, but just hasn't really put it together. And a lot of it might be because of this offensive line is also not good for the Bengals. So really all their money is in just a couple good players in Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow and Trey Hendrickson. So that's really their team. That's it. That's the Bengals. That's the entire Cincinnati Bengals right there. Everyone else, not really anybody to kind of write home about. But then when you look at their defense, yeah, PFF has the Bears as the 14th highest graded defense, 32nd graded defense, the Cincinnati Bengals. For offenses, Bears as the 13th and the Bengals as 25th. So actually PFF grades liking the Bears, and I think a lot of that does go into, yet again, these are grades, not necessarily the true ranking. And I think a lot of the grades themselves say a lot about the Bears. The Bears have played well. They have good players, but they just make dumb mistakes that then just cost them the games. So let's talk a little bit about, let's flip this over and let's talk about this Bears offense. So like we said, they're going against one of the worst defenses. The Cincinnati defense, actually, we'll preview this defense first because, man, this defense is bad. So how bad is this defense, you might ask? For expected points, when with the NFL reference grades of expected points, they are ranked 32nd. They're 32nd in expected points against the pass and 29th in the expected points against the run. Bad defense. And then you look at the actual, old school statistics. They allow the third most passing yards per game, and they allow the most rushing yards per game. And I believe that the average per rush is about 5 yards per carry. Why, you might ask? Well, they also have the most missed tackles at a whopping 84 missed tackles. The next closest is at 65. So almost 20 more missed tackles than the next worst team when it comes down to missed tackles. If you're looking at this is a Kyle Monangai. This is a get the ball into your playmakers' hands. Now, a lot of your wide receivers, like we previously said, they're banged up. Luther Burden probably not going to be out there, which is unfortunate because you break like 5 tackles in order to get a touchdown right about now. But I think that we are very, very well built to go against this because it's all about short games, playmakers, try to make something happen. Can you imagine Kyle Monangai going against the worst tackling team out there? He's going to make people miss. And also we see this with DeAndre Swift. Swift can make those bad tackling teams miss because he'll take advantage of that. So I feel very, very good about this Chicago Bears ground game. I feel really good about it. Now, besides Trey Hendrickson. So, because first off, we have to break it down. Trey Hendrickson, if he's out there, will be going against Theo Benedette. As I've said before on the show, Theo Benedette just has not impressed me. He is worse than Braxton Jones. But, like, if you just talk about blocking, he is a worse player than Braxton Jones. But he's in the right spot. And being in the right spot counts for a lot. It counts for an absolute lot. And even though he's not great, being in the right spot matters more, especially in the running game. So that's the reason why Benedette's the starter. And also now Braxton Jones is on IR, I believe, too. So there's that as well. So unfortunately, we can't trade him for anything. But the big thing is, who else is out there on that defense? So Joseph Asai, who kind of plays D tackle and a little bit of defensive end, has been decent against the run. Pass rush, not so much. But when you look at this pass rush, they are actually they have the lowest blitz rate in the league at 15.4%. So good for the Bears. Not going to be blitzing a lot unless they change it up against them. They also have the third lowest pressure rate at the same rate at 15.4%. So they do not generate pressure, even though Trey Hendrickson is their only defensive lineman out there. Basically, if you can stop Trey Hendrickson, you can stop this pass rush because that's all you really got to care about out there. The other thing that I want to kind of break down with this too is only other player that's kind of worth noting on the line, BJ Hill. He's been a good, solid defensive tackle. He's 35. He's 30 years old. But yeah, so getting up there in age now. But still somebody that is just a solid contributor at the defensive tackle spot. So yes, Trey Hendrickson gets all the love, but Hill is still a solid defensive tackle in the league. Now, if we're talking about the defensive backs, so like we said, Logan Wilson might be out with an injury, a very good linebacker. So in his place, you're seeing rookie Demetrius Knight, their second-round pick out of South Carolina, and also Barrett Carter, their fourth-round pick out of Clemson, filling in, and both of them haven't been that good. So they're still rookies. They're still figuring out their ways, and they've been looking like that out there. Knight is 77th out of 80 linebackers, according to PFF, and Carter is no better, just slightly better at 69th, nice out of 80 linebackers. Now, the secondary. The secondary for this team has been okay. The biggest person that I want to kind of call out is DJ Turner. big reason DJ Turner is a fast, very, very fast, quick cornerback out of Michigan that I've actually been very, very surprised with. I was not super high on him coming out just because he was kind of that Eric Stokes model where it was, you're a really good athlete, but can you actually play the cornerback position? Now, early on in his career, it looked that way. He didn't really have a good feel, but right now he's a very, very good coverage corner. He's PFF's 5th highest coverage grade. But on the flip side, when it comes down to run defense, 93rd among 99 qualifying cornerbacks when it comes down to run defense. So he's got a very slight frame, only 180 pounds. So difficult when it comes down to stuffing the run overall. But then on the other sides, Cam Taylor-Britt and Dax Hill, those corners are, they're not amazing, but they're below average, I'd say, cornerbacks. Yet again, should be able to kind of take advantage of that defensive backfield. But then also, too, with the safeties, Geno Stone has not looked the same since coming over from the Baltimore Ravens and going into this Bengals defense. And also Jordan Battle, after an amazing rookie season, just has not he's not really lived back up to that hype that he kind of gave out there as a 3rd-round rookie from Alabama. So really, when you're looking at this, it's Turner is the big one to watch out for when you're talking about passing. But besides that, this is where, I expect, yet again, Caleb, this should be your game. This should be something that you can then easily dominate. Just if I'm the Bears, I'm learning I'm going back from what we learned against Max Crosby, right? You had Max Crosby out there that terrorized you all game. If Hendrickson is out there, which I'm taking a little glance in the chat, a lot of people in the chat not thinking that Trey Hendrickson's going to be out there just because, the whole trading block thing, that's where he's probably not going to be out there. Also, bear down to you, Taco Man. Hope all is well. But yeah, I think that there's a good chance that he's not out there if they're trying to move him, because might as well. You know that he's not going to want to be on the team anymore, and you gave him that little contract. You don't have Joe Burrow. You're 3-5, probably going to be 3-6. We'll see. We'll see if they'll be 3-6. But I think that this is a good opportunity for just have him sit out, right? And that's where Caleb should really, really take advantage of these matchups. Even if a lot of his wide receivers are out, even if those wide receivers are out, you can still have some favorable matchups. But also, too, you have some rookie linebackers. Why not take advantage of Colson Loveland? And if you're most likely going to get Cole Kmet back out there as well, you get 2 corners. I mean, you get 2 tight ends out there. I love the tight ends in this game. I would be targeting them often, especially since they can't really tackle too well. Give it to Cole Kmet in little kind of easy little passes like that and let the tight ends do some work, especially if you're going to have a banged up DJ Moore or a banged up Roma Dunze. Why not try something like that going against some rookie linebackers? This is why you wanted to go with 2 tight end sets. Take advantage of it. That's to me. That's my feeling. That's what I kind of would love to see out of this Bears unit. But also, I just want to kind of tip my cap. Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney, and Darnell Wright, phenomenal players. Just absolutely great. Jonah Jackson, though, is getting better and better and better. And that's the thing. It feels good. All that you need is next year, right? You're locked into Jonah Jackson. So you kind of have to keep that. He's not going to be great or anything like that, but he's just going to be serviceable. But if you can get that left tackle, like drafting that left tackle that can kind of develop, that would be phenomenal. So to me, that left tackle position, man. And yet again, I'm not going to just say Theo Benedict can't play anymore or he's awful or anything like that. Like I've always said, offensive tackle takes 2 years, at least 2 years to develop. So to me, this for all intents and purposes, this is his rookie year since he was out all last year. But man, found the Bears, run the ball. I'm expecting big things from Swift, big things from Monungai. And also, let me pull up the Bears injury report because I don't think I saw. Okay, Swift did not participate with the groin injury. So this might be Monungai, man. I might have to look at Monungai props and see what that is, because Swift didn't look the same. When rewatching, like, Swift really didn't have that same burst that just he didn't have that same pop to his game. So to me, you got to give that, man. You got to give you got to give it to Manan guy with this. So also, yeah, Taco Man saying Theo was gross that game as well. He was. And Taco Man saying he watched a lot of tape breakdowns. It was on the wide receivers and defense for that loss. Yeah, defense didn't play great. I don't know. It's just the whole team, man. It's the whole team effort. And let me see what else out there. We got Tempest saying doesn't think that Trey will play. Yeah, I like that. And I do agree with that. I don't think that they're going to end up playing, but let's see. Taco Man, I brought old vegetables to throw at. Hey, we'll see who I pick. Maybe I pick the Bears to win. Maybe I don't pick the Bears to win. We'll see. I've been one-on-one when it comes down to Bears, picking Bears losses. So we'll see. But now let's talk a little bit about, offensive matchup to watch out for. So the matchup that I'm watching out for, let me know in the comments if you got one too that you're watching out for with this offense versus this defense. To me, I'm gonna cheat and say 2, because if Trey Hendrickson is out there, then it's going to be Trey Hendrickson, Theo Benedette, right? That's an easy one. That's a simple one. That's the one that I'd be going after, because that is going to be huge. And I think that if Hendrickson is out there, the way that I think that the Bears end up attacking it is just like what they did with Crosby. You have somebody that constantly chips him. You have Cole constantly chip him, just try to knock him off his spot, make his day awful. He doesn't want to be in Cincinnati, so just make his day awful. So he's like, literally, they chip me every single time. So just bother him, frustrate him, do something like that, and just get him off his spot. That's the way to go about it. And so then that leads me to my next matchup that I'm watching out for, because if Hendrickson's not out there, or even if he is, Colston Loveland versus Demetrius Knight. So Knight has been, Knight's been okay. He's a fast moving linebacker, which is probably going to be the reason why, if they're going to put him on someone, they're going to probably put him on Colston Loveland. So that's going to be a matchup that I'm going to be watching out for. This is a highly sought after, he wasn't a first round pick, but a second round pick linebacker going against your top 10 pick at tight end. You should be able to beat this guy, right? Show what you're capable of doing, because if they're going to have Cole Kmet chipping, then you better be getting open, right? Take advantage of these rookie linebackers, because you should be better than these rookie linebackers. You're a top 10 pick. Make it look that way and dominate out there. So that is the offensive matchup that I'm watching out for with this Chicago Bears offense. So now let's flip over to this Bears defensive preview, where yet again, like when we're kind of talking about this Bears defense, we've had a lot of turnover luck. That's been the way that that's been the way that we've kind of really kind of taken advantage of a lot of teams. Now, with Joe Flacco, he has not thrown an interception since coming over to the Cincinnati Bengals. So right now with the Bengals, Joe Flacco has averaged 261 yards per game and 7 touchdowns, sacked only 4 times. And this offensive line is not great. Joe Flacco's been having good success. He's been playing very, very well, as a Cincinnati Bengal. And now, on the flip side, when he was with the Browns, he threw for 6 interceptions and only 2 touchdowns. So maybe we're waiting for Flacco to turn into a pumpkin. And maybe after October, now he turns back into Joe Flacco, starts throwing some interceptions. But yet again, this is someone that is just starting to learn this offense. Send a blitz. Try to get him off of his marks. Try to get him to make mistakes, because at the end of the day, he's still 40-year-old Joe Flacco. You can bother him. You can get him off his marks. You can force him to throw turnovers like he did in Cleveland. So to me, that's going to be a big key to watch out for if Joe Flacco is out there. Like we said, he was banged up. My guess, if I had to guess, I think that he's going to be out there. If he's not, let me just kind of pull up here. I'll pull up Jake Browning. So Joe Flacco, 261 passing yards per game. Jake Browning, 189 passing yards per game. Jake Browning, 6 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, sacked 9 times in 4 games. So Jake Browning, I would love to see Jake Browning out there. Like I said, Jake Browning has not he didn't look the same as some of the other weeks. Some of the other seasons where Joe Burrow inevitably goes down with some form of injury, and then Jake Browning comes in, drops 5 touchdowns on people. But with any backup, people can figure it out and then kind of respond to that. So Jake Browning, would like to see him a little bit more than Joe Flacco. Definitely changes the score, the total amount of points out there if Jake Browning ends up going out and playing. So let's see what the chat's saying right now. Stevenson versus Chase, kind of calling that out. Gardner Johnson versus Jake Browning, interceptions. Let's go. Turnovers will be back. Come on. Let's go with that. And then Santos is going to be the leading scorer on the team. I hope not, man. We need some touchdowns. J2K saying he heard a rumor Jake Browning's arm is done, like it doesn't work anymore. That's why they quickly traded for Flacco. Well, I mean, it didn't look that way. It looked like Browning's arm was done just because, yeah, he did not look the same. I'm actually going to pull up Jake Browning's stats real quick because I always felt like I said, he's always kind of put up halfway decent numbers. It's still backup numbers. Like in 2023, let's see, quarterback rating of 98. He had 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, about 2,000 yards in 9 games. So not amazing, but still just solid. But yeah, this year, yeah, not looking good. Not looking good at all. So let's talk a little bit more about this offense because we've been kind of breaking down their overall quarterback situation. So let me flip over and let's talk about the rest of this team. So obviously, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, those are your wide receivers. Yosivas, their slot receiver, has not played well at all. He's the very athletic wide receiver out of Princeton. He's PFF's 125th ranked wide receiver out of 126. Why Mitchell Tinsley isn't out there, I don't know. But I'd put him out there if I was the Bengals. But Higgins and Chase, that's all you need to know. Chase has been the primary target. You can double him, but he's that guy. He's the guy that's been getting all the offensive yards for the Bengals. When you look at this, he's averaging 90 yards a game. T. Higgins only averaging 45 yards a game. But really, Jamar Chase is the person that gets all the targets. He's going to be the one that you're going to want to double. And man, if you have Nahshon Wright out there, which you're going to have, I think just no matter what, you're doubling Chase. Double Chase, and then if you can have Tyreek Stevenson on Higgins, Higgins is probably going to still win the most amount of times in that matchup, but still, I'd rather just trust Stevenson out there and just double Chase, because if you can double that, then yes, double that or send blitzes, do stuff like that, because you know they're going to be going Chase's way, and for Flacco, all he has to do, toss it up. But man, exactly like what J2K said, this offensive line is bad that they have. Karras, their center, is the 30th ranked center out of 33. You have Dylan Fairchild, the rookie out of Georgia, their left guard, 70th ranked out of 82. Yet again, their starter is Dalton Risner, who still hasn't, he's not that great either. And then you have Rivers, who is the 81st graded guard out of 82 with a whopping 31.6 grade. Gervon Dexter, Grady Jarrett, come on down. Get some sacks up the middle. Would love to see that. And then Demarius Mims, someone that I actually really like coming out of college, but had a lot of injury concerns and was always kind of banged up in college. Has not looked the same at right tackle. 62nd graded tackle out of 77. And then at left tackle, Orlando Brown Jr. Yes, that Orlando Brown Jr. that was with the Ravens, that was great that they let walk. They shifted him back over to left tackle because he was always, when he shifted to right tackle, he looked fantastic for the Ravens, but then he had to shift to left tackle because I believe Stanley went down with an injury. And then also too, I think Brown just really wanted to be left tackle again. And unfortunately, has not looked the same. So he's still left tackle. Not like he's bad, but he's just now an okay tackle. This is not a good offensive line. Brown's the best player out there, and you already know that Dayo Dengbo is not going to get any pressure. So, you can always discount whoever's at left tackle. Like I'm saying this because I'm sad because, Dio's not going to do anything out there. So Dio, you just quote unquote stop the run on the left-hand side and do that. But now we're going to see Booker out there, which Booker normally comes around the right tackle. We'll see if he gets some snaps at the left side as well. But I'm really excited to see some Austin Booker out there because we saw this last year. Last year he was the preseason darling. And then this year he was the preseason darling again, but he looked even better. So I'm actually going to ask this to the audience. How good do you think Booker will be coming back off injury? Great. Good. The same as last year. I'll just put okay. And same as last year, which honestly was bad. Like, he just didn't do anything last year. So let me see what y'all have to say about that as I post that poll, because to me, I am feeling kind of optimistic. I'm curious to see how he holds up against the run, because my take is that's probably the reason why they didn't want to have him out there, just because they were just starting to get, here's where everyone should be, here's where everyone should stay out there. But this is a good opportunity for him. Going against Mims, going against Brown, this could be a very good opportunity for him to try and make some form of play. So I think if I'm grading it, I think he's going to look good. Rushing the passer, I think he's going to look a lot better than Dio Dengbo. I think he's at least going to show like plus, if I had to do like PFF grades, right? I think he's going to have an above average pass rush grade, but I think he's going to have a below average run defense grade, just because I feel like that run defense was the reason why they waited all that time until now when Shamar Turner goes out to then put him in at defensive end. So I'd be pissed though if he's not out there. Like, come on, we want to see some Austin Booker. So give us some Austin Booker, Bears. Come on. But other little things I want to bring up, I have to bring up their run game. Chase Brown, I know he's from Illinois or like Illinois, or was it Q's? But with this, just Brown, not a big fan. Just I didn't understand a lot of the hype going into this season inside of fantasy football. But yet again, this kind of boils down to, if you don't have a good offensive line, you're not going to be able to run it like crazy. So that's where Brown, you're seeing less than 4 yards a carry. Don't have a line, you're not able to duplicate the same success. And also, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not able to do that as well. So to me, it'll be interesting to see like if they're as obsessed as they have been about stuffing the run, because the focus is going to be on the pass after 2 straight weeks of just really zeroing in on the run, or 3 straight weeks of zeroing in on the run. It'll be interesting to see if they lose focus of that to then try to sell out for the run, for the pass instead of the run. So, but I don't love Chase Brown. I just think that he's just kind of one of those, like a James Conner type, where it's just always like, oh yeah, he's a player, but I think he's a step below James Conner. But let me see too, and then blitz rate for the Bears defense. I see Taco Man asking that. The blitz rate, I can actually pull it up. It's actually not as high as you think. According to Football Reference, the blitz rate for our beloved Chicago Bears, right in the middle at 23%. So I don't have the actual like specific number for the rank, but yeah, it's like smack dab in the middle. So yeah, just mid-rank. And I think that the big reason was we didn't blitz a lot at the very beginning. And then now we're blitzing more and more and more. So now we're seeing it a lot more. So, yeah. All right. So now let's talk a little bit more about this defense. Like we said, if you have Chauncey Gardner Johnson out there, I feel a lot more comfortable with this. Because if you have him out there, fingers crossed that we get to see Tyreek Stevenson at the opposite end. Just because then you feel a lot better. And like I said, too, with Chauncey Gardner Johnson, you can send that guy in the blitz. You can send him in different blitz packages and put him in more aggressive situations. So I like that. Yet again, I like the pickup. It's a late October pickup, so it's not going to be anyone game changing, but someone that can at least fill the gap so that you don't have absolute backups out there for the Bears. But with this game, I think that the big matchups to watch out, and the big matchups, like I said, it's going to be on the outside. So my matchup to watch out for is going to be Tyreek Stevenson versus T. Higgins, because I can see them trying to put T. Higgins out there with Tyreek Stevenson to try to get Nahshon Wright on the other guy, on Chase, as much as possible. Because if you have him out there on Chase, then that's why I think that Byard, Brisker, other players kind of bringing them up to then try and keep that man-to-man. Because the Bears play man-to-man, I think it's the fifth highest percentage out of any team that's out there. Man-to-man going against these wide receivers ain't going to cut it. I would be curious if they're going to play a little bit more zone coverage, just because you're talking about some great wide receivers. Force Joe Flacco to try and pass against the zone rather than just going straight up man-to-man, because you have two man beaters right on the outside. So to me, that's what I want to bring up is you might need to just put out more zone coverage rather than a lot of the man-to-man that we were playing out there. But also, like I said, sending the blitz packages just to try to throw them off guard, because this team, you got to be able to put some pressure on them up the middle. So I like the matchups at least, because maybe you can see Grady Jarrett, Gervon Dexter, and Sweat out there putting up some pressure. So I think that I'm cautiously like, okay, we match up well for defensive line versus offensive line, because their offensive line is atrocious. So we should be able to match up well. It's just a matter of if we're actually going to do it. So, but still, I like the way when we blitz. So that's my feeling overall. Let's talk a little bit more. So yeah, matchups, like I said, Tyreek Stevenson versus, so Stevenson is going to be my matchup to watch out for versus T. Higgins. The other matchup that I'll just kind of call out, too, is going to be Gervon Dexter versus Rivers. I think that he's going to be able to have a field day against him. Gervon, let's get some sacks. I think that he can have a field day out there. But then next, we have our special teams review, where this special teams review cover the freaking punt returns and kick returns. That's actually, let's punt the ball first. But with the kick returns, let's just try to hold them to less than 30 yards, right? Can we please do that? Can we please get them to the 30-yard line, not rather than getting them out to the 35 or the 40-yard line? Can we please figure this out, Coach Hightower? Because for some reason, just don't have that. So a little bit frustrating that we just have not played well. But also, too, with Cairo Santos, my just take on him is it can always get worse. I know he doesn't have a booming of a leg, and I know it's not what a lot of people want to hear. I like that he's at least accurate. Jake Moody, he's been kicking well, but still just a little bit I'm not quick to move on from Cairo. I know that he didn't hit that 58-yarder. That also wasn't a K-ball that a lot of other people are. That's why people are drilling it from 60 yards. That was a standard game ball. So hence the reason why it wasn't extra juiced or anything like that. But still, I get that he doesn't have a huge leg, but to me, I'd rather just have accuracy as of right now than the pain that other teams go into where they have the Joey Slies of the world where booming kick, but miss a lot of field goals. I'd rather have the more reliable one. That's my feeling. But let's go over to the last little bits. Who has the edge? So, and actually, I'm going to ask that as a question because I like how you framed that, J2K. So what would you rather have? Yeah. I'm just kind of curious y'all's take. Strong-legged kicker or accuracy? So with poor accuracy, so kind of like Joey Sly, or good accuracy or leg. Just curious. And it's also like Robbie Gould. Robbie Gould, not a strong leg, but an accurate leg. And I think about the same thing. Right now, Santos has been accurate. To me, I'm Team Santos. That's my feeling. But let's talk about who has the edge. So if I'm talking about who has the edge, if I'm looking at this the Chicago Bears offense, the Chicago Bears running attack versus this running defense, Bears running attack all day. The Bears running attack has been good. Even if Swift is banged up and has a limited workload, I still like Monungai. Monungai's the way that he runs, and also this team with the amount of missed tackles this Bengals defense has. Give me the Bears running attack all day. Then you get into the passing attack. Caleb, this is your game. Do something. Do something with it. Because if, like I said, the first 4 games that Caleb really liked, last 3 have not liked. So don't make it 4-4, because you've gone against worse defenses and you've looked worse against the bad defenses. Come on. Like, obviously you look good against the Cowboys, but this is a Cowboys-esque pass defense. You should be able to do well. So that's my feeling. The other thing too is, now let's flip over. So Bears advantage there. And then if we flip over to the actual defensive side of the ball, I'll take the Bears run defense over the running attack of the Bengals. They have not been able to get things started. And like I said before, I think that they have done a good job selling out against the run. I think that they're going to do less of that. And I think that Chase Brown's going to have a solid game, but I still like the Bears run defense overall. And yes, I know if you look at the box scores, you can see how much the Ravens score, how many rushing yards the Ravens averaged, but they had King Henry down to 3.2 yards a carry. That's the stat that I actually care about, not running the triple option with a quarterback, which you never really see other teams do. So that's what matters there. But now if we go to the passing attack, unfortunately, I'm going to give it to the Bengals. If Flacco's out there, I still think that Flacco's going to be out there. That's why I'm giving it to them. I just think that with this defense, we got to be able to rush the passer, and we just have not been able to do that. We have not been winning, even though that we have those matchups, but also too with the secondary being so banged up. You're going against Jamar Chase. You're going against T. Higgins. It's going to be difficult. They're going to be trying to pass it. So that's my feeling. But let's go over to, so overall though, I think that the Bears have the edge. So now it's time for the moment that everybody's been waiting for, the game predictions. So let me know your game predictions down below. Let me know what you believe. Let me know what you think. So let me see. So what I want to kind of bring up is just some of the games that the Bengals have had. So in recent weeks with the Bengals, so just to put this into perspective, week 1 against the Browns, they only allowed 16 points. Look at them. Then the next week, they allowed 27 points. Then the next week, 48 points. Next week, 28 points. Then 37 against the Lions, 27 against the Packers, 31 against the Steelers, and 38 against the Jets in a losing fashion. So Jets end up beating them. Close game. Maybe they want to come back and try and beat the Bears, because this is also going to be at Cincinnati. So this defense lets up a lot of points. The Bears, right? Where's this 30 burger? We need this 30 burger. We need something like that to really kind of just feel good. Just to feel good about this. If this is Jake Browning, it's going to be lower. I'm saying that it's going to be the Flacco. I think Flacco's going to be out there. If Browning's out there, he only put up 10 points against the Vikings, 3 points against the Broncos. All good defenses, and then 24 against the Lions, which, yet again, solid defense for the Lions as well. But if I'm looking at this, like I said, Bears, you got to be able to put up more points. I'm going to say, let me see what y'all are saying. 31-24 Bears win for J2K. 17-14 Bears for Taco Man. I'm going to give it to the Bears. I'm going to say 27-24. I'm going to give it to the Bears. I think that they're still going to be able to put up some yards. The Bears, man, it's frustrating. It's really, really frustrating. The team is frustrating because we should be scoring a lot more. We should be making a lot more points than this. But the amount of penalties, the amount of just dumb mistakes, the amount of inaccurate passes that Caleb's been throwing too, it's frustrating. So to me, 27-24. And I'm going to give it to the Bears. And bold predictions. Let me know your bold prediction. I'm going to say, oh man, my mind went a couple spots. I'm going to say, this might not be super bold, but I'll do one not so bold. This is going to be partially bold. I'm going to say 2 sacks combined for Gervon Dexter and Grady Jarrett. Our defense doesn't get a lot of sacks. Our linemen don't get a lot of sacks. I think that they're going to have a game. I think that they're going to play well. But then, yeah, Monungai is going to be my next bold prediction because I think that Monungai is going to have a game. I think, honestly, it could even be like, I'm going to, just because this is a nice round number. Actually, because I want to say 75 if I had to do like an actual, like, okay, bold prediction and stuff, like semi-bold prediction, Monungai gets 75 yards just because it seems like Swift is a little bit banged up. So then, like, they try to have Monungai out there a lot last game. I think that he gets like over 75 yards on the ground next game. I was going to say 100, but I'm like, no, I'm going to play it. That's still big. That's still bold because like the line I think is only like 28 or like, it was like 28 last week or 24, 28. But I'm going to say over 75 rushing yards for Kyle Monungai. I think he's going to go off. I think he's going to play well. And I think that's going to be how you have to just kind of establish this. So that's going to be that. Also, I see pay the refs. I love it. Monungai has a game. CJ gets a interception. Love that from Neil. Bear down to you, my friend. And what about takeaways? And also Rod saying we got to win this game. Bear down, Rod. And also bear down, Bears Bones. So yeah, like about what Bears Bones is saying with takeaways, let's talk about that because takeaways, this is one thing about CJ Gardner Johnson. The guy's a dog. Like, the whole aggressive mentality, he's going to bring that. So I hope he does I hope he fits in and I hope he's just not a jerk. I hope we're not. And hey, maybe if he's a jerk, you can cut him in 3 weeks when Kyler Gordon's healthy. There you go. Like you can only take 3 weeks of him. So there it's, Ryan Poles playing chess out here, or probably Dennis Allen playing chess out here saying that. So, but yeah, I agree with Taco Man too. Like, yeah, we can't abandon the run. This should be a run game. This should be something that where you just establish the run, you beat it down their throats, and then like just field position, just like keep running it down the throats. And yeah, Kyle Monungai game, book it. I'll be looking at those player props. I think that depending on how Swift goes, this could be the Kyle Monungai game, which I would be all for it. So yeah, let's get some takeaways, let's get some scores, and let's bear down and let's get this win. So if you're still out there on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and comment. It helps out the show tremendously. And also everybody that's listening out there, make sure to rate 5 stars, download the show, just search for Unbearable Sports. And with that, we'll see you after the game at 7:30 on Sunday. Have a happy Halloween, and Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair and